out, which is why the government of India has put all hands on deck. Today, ministers who were speaking to students have come back, have said, look, tell your friends who are back in Ukraine, the Indian government is there and is making an attempt to pull everyone out as quickly as possible. But everyone needs to appreciate that we are in the middle of war, and in the middle of war, things don't happen the way we want to. So the worst fears have come true for India. One young student who had who had gone possibly to study medicine, because most students who go to Ukraine go to study medicine, has now unfortunately lost his life in that shelling in Kharkiv. One can only imagine, Pallavi, what his parents are going through. Whether I'm just also wondering whether the next of kin, the parents, have been informed of his death. I'm sure it has been, but to all students who are stuck there in Kharkiv and in Kiev, one can understand the panic. We are telling them not to panic, but let's just put ourselves in their shoes. They have reason to panic right now.
And that's exactly what I was coming to, because it's all very well to say, don't worry, we are there to help you. But with this news coming in, I can understand the parents must be absolutely panic stricken, and even the students who are trying to leave from Ukraine. This is even as the Foreign Secretary is calling on ambassadors of Russia and Ukraine to reiterate a demand for urgent safe passage for Indian nationals who are still in Kharkiv and cities in other conflict zones. This is a tweet which has come in from Arindam Bakshi. So, Arunima, I know the government is consistently, okay, we're going to try and go back to in a bit, but I'm just going to read out that tweet from Arindam Bakshi, another one which he has tweeted out, where he says that foreign secretaries are calling out the ambassadors of Russia and Ukraine to demand urgent safe passage for Indian nationals who are still in Kharkiv. Let me just go across to our guest who's now joining me this afternoon, Major Mohammed Ali Shah. He's a defense expert. Thank you so much for speaking to us. This is something which we were hoping we would not hear. Fortunately, unfortunately, we have heard this. Does this then put pressure on India to, now tell Russia, please stop it? We cannot afford any more casualties. In fact, no country can afford.
Well, I'll take a very non-biased stand and a very neutral view. It's not about applying pressure on Russia. And firstly, my heartfelt condolence to the families. I mean, it's really painful and really sad. And trust me, a soldier who has been in the line of fire, who is led from the front, who has seen his own buddies being martyred in his own arms, will know the pain, who has informed people at home that your ward is no more. He would know the pain what you all are going through. So please hold strong. I know it's easier said than done, but please hold strong. The nation will always, it's very easy to say that we stand by you, but we actually do stand by you. We're not just saying it. It's not just lip service. We genuinely stand by you all. And especially in this hour of grief. Now, applying pressure on Russia, well, there has been a lot of pressure from the international community, from the biggest powers, the friends, everyone on Russia. And you cannot clap with one hand. You clap with two hands. I would also say, this false honor, this false pride of Vladimir Zelensky is costing way too much. Why is he not willing to bow down? He says, if I bow down, if Russia stops fighting, there'll be an end-to-end war. If we stop fighting, it'll be an end to our country. I disagree there. I think the Ukraine will still exist. Only thing, they'll have a different government there. That's about it. And what was Putin's requirement? What was his demand initially? It was not for land. It was not for natural resources. It was that they should not join NATO, and their sovereignty and their integrity felt threatened. And as per, if you go by principle, in 1990, in February, James Baker, the foreign secretary of the US, had given a word to Mikhail Gorbachev that there would not be any further expansion of NATO from the East Germany side. But then, in 4 phases, they inducted 14 nations anyway. Not going back much to the background of that. Right now, even Vladimir Zelensky, who used to be a very good artist and a very good actor, people very popular, people who would like him, he should understand the fact. In Leo Tolstoy's novel, incidentally, he's again a Russian writer who was nominated for several Nobel Peace Prize.
We cannot deny a country an opportunity if it wants to stand up what it thinks is right. That's something you cannot grudge the Ukrainian government, surely. And that cannot justify any kind of violence or act of war. A huge worry, isn't it, for the Indian government to ensure that there is no repeat of this casualty. And it's not just in Kyiv. There are other parts of Ukraine, Kharkiv, for example, where there have been these explosions which we have been talking about. So there's bound to be panic, isn't it? And international pressure also mounting that we have to have a halt to these kind of violence.
Well, when coronavirus has taught us one thing: when the virus affects us, it does not ask, "Are you a government official, government employee? Are you a politician? Are you a laborer? No. Are you a daily wage earner? No. It just affects us." Similarly, when the shelling takes place, the feeling of being under fire, when there are bombs being dropped all over, when there's smoke all over, when you're seeing your buddies die before your own eyes, when people are shouting and screaming, ask me, I know the feeling very, very well. It is indeed very painful. It's a scene of chaos completely, and you have to hold your wits about you at that situation. It is really painful. Now, the bombs which are being dropped will not ask whether there's a high rise or it's the embassy official, or you're a student, or you are a Ukrainian, or you could be a Russian present over there, or you could be a Russian military personnel. No, it often happens. In fact, it's often happened that we have Russian troops which are entering there, though they will plan their best to not do the firing that side, but it can happen. Now, when we talk about Operation Ganga, it really, we are under stress. Everyone is under stress. We had assured that we will get every single Indian citizen back alive, safe and sound. Now, this really puts a pressure on all of us, on you, on me, on the government, on the embassy officials, every single citizen. We are really perturbed about it. And yes, how do we ensure that such a thing does not happen? There's no guarantee. When people over there say, who is going to take our guarantee, our surety, our warranty, and who will assure us? No one can assure. You have to use your own presence of mind. You have to apply your own mind in such a situation also. You can't be totally dependent on what the embassy officials or what the government will give you a guideline.
Major Shah, given the situation, I mean, my heart really goes out to the children over there. It's